Modern Driveline sells kits to put manual transmissions into many popular muscle cars, but we threw them a little bit of a curve with this one. We're using a Detroit Speed subframe, which moves the engine back towards the firewall, and then the T-56 Magnum is kind of unique, especially with that subframe and the LSA engine. So to make ours work, we ended up making our transmission crossmember out of some mild steel.
This is a transmission crossmember. I've done is used 4 individual pieces that were bent to a 90 and pieced them together to make a symmetrical piece. It's nice tucked away.
1 inch outside diameter, 1/8 inch wall, DOM mild steel tubing, TIG welded on all the seams, and it's 3/16 wall angle iron that's been trimmed on the edge for the mounting brackets. So then I've welded the nuts to it, because when it's in the car you've got the body on top, that way you've only got to screw the bolt out without having to hold a wrench onto the top. A factory crossmember would be about 5 inches further forward of where the mount for this transmission is.
Before this car's finished, we might actually add a couple of more support bars to that transmission crossmember, but we're certainly trying to keep everything as light and as clean as possible. Because of our engine and subframe combination, we had to cut our floor, but you might not even have to. The Modern Driveline kits are designed to put the shifter in the stock location, even when you do a retrofit. But in our case, this car had a very cobbled up shifter hole in the original transmission tunnel. So when John fabricated the new transmission tunnel, we left the whole thing blank and then installed the transmission and then put the hole where we needed it to be in our particular car. And then wherever that hole is, we can modify the shifter position, because Modern Driveline sells adjustable shifters that will allow you to move it forward or back or left or right with an offset. The original transmission was actuated with a mechanical clutch, which means there's a linkage that goes from the clutch pedal to a fork underneath the car, which engages and disengages the clutch. And we decided to use a hydraulic unit in this car because the hydraulics offer a couple of advantages. They're a little smoother in their operation. They also allow a little more flexibility for mounting.
It's the most efficient system there is, and it has such a small footprint, and the versatility of running one singular line from a master to a slave. You can even hide the master in most cases.
So the hydraulic throwout bearing inside the transmission was part of the Modern Driveline kit, and we mounted our clutch master cylinder to the firewall using a bracket that's made by Detroit Speed. This is a nice fabricated piece that makes mounting the hydraulic clutch master cylinder to the firewall nice and clean in the right spot. You do have to weld it in, but when it's done, it looks like it was there from the factory. Now, if you're going to do a conversion, you also have to consider a third pedal for your clutch if your car didn't have one, if you had an automatic. If it sounds like there are a lot of parts to figure out to put together a manual transmission conversion, well, you're right. But the good thing is you can go to the Modern Driveline website, where they have packages available for a variety of different cars.
Well, we run the gamut when it comes to Fords as an example. We handle everything from a flathead all the way through Y block, small block, big block, 6-cylinder, 4-cylinder Fords, everything to the mod motor, LS obviously. We can even do all of the Mopar products.
The last piece of the puzzle is the drive shaft, and Modern Driveline will provide you with one once you measure for the proper drive shaft length. And now the body shell of the Lose Change Camaro can start to go through some major changes of its own.